you're doing. Knock yourself out. I could care less.
JakePaul, you are a disgrace of a man. You are the epitome of weakness. You are the scum of the earth.
Seriously, I'm being serious. I think there's absolutely no way he can beat a world champion.
So, boxing experts just knocked down JakePaul. Yep, you heard that right. While he's been gearing up for what's supposed to be the biggest fight of his career against Mike Tyson, it looks like Jake might not be ready for the big day just yet. Word on the street is, during a private sparring session, Jake was absolutely floored. Now, before you go hunting for videos, there's not much footage floating around online. But we've got the exclusive scoop right here in this video. The experts. Oh, they're having a field day with this one. They've been questioning Jake's skills for a while. But this knockout has given them all the ammo they need to roast him nonstop. They're saying things like, if he can't handle sparring, how's he going to handle a real fight with a top-tier boxer? This KO has some experts wondering if Jake bit off more than he can chew. Let's break it down. Boxing experts are in full-blown panic mode after JakePaul got KO'd hard. And here's where things get even spicier. JakePaul was sparring with a lesser-known athlete, hoping to get in some serious work for his upcoming Clash of the Eras bout with none other than Iron Mike Tyson. Yep, Jake is gearing up to face one of the most feared fighters of all time. And that fight is just around the corner, set to take place on November 15th at the AT&T Arena. This is the fight that everyone's been waiting for. Old school versus new school. JakePaul versus Mike Tyson. But based on Jake's recent wobble fest in the sparring ring, it looks like he's far from prepared for what's coming. Boxing pros and pundits are already hopping on the bandwagon, eager to share their 2 cents on the whole fiasco. And let's start with Paul's longtime critic, Joe Rogan, who wasted no time in sharing his take on Jake's knockout fail. If you're a fight fan, you know that when Rogan speaks, people listen. The UFC commentator has been making serious waves on the internet with his no-holds-barred opinions on Jake's career, and this latest incident has given Rogan even more reason to roast Jake.
Kind of insulting. It's brave, it's bold of him, but it's like, Jesus Christ, there's levels to this.
Rogan's been calling Jake a fraud for quite some time now, accusing him of manipulating his fans into believing that he's a legitimate boxer when, in Rogan's eyes, he's nowhere close. Jake's a great entertainer, no doubt about it, but he's fooling people into thinking he's a legit boxer. It's all smoke and mirrors, Rogan said in one of his latest podcasts. And let me tell you, it's been blowing up on social media. Now we need to give credit where it's due. You can't deny that Jake has given us some epic knockouts. His fights with Ben Askren and Tyron Woodley were definitely some to watch.
Crack.
Yeah.
100%. That knockout of Tyron Woodley is legit as fuck. He can crack.
However, the athlete has dug his own grave by going after 2 tough opponents back-to-back. And judging from his sparring video, he is far from ready. Take it from Rogan. The kid has worked hard and he's taken on some tough opponents, but this knockout? This is a wake-up call. Now, JakePaul has been making buzz in the fight world ever since his pro boxing debut back in 2020. But let's be real here, his brash personality has always preceded his boxing skills. Come on, Jake's better known for the shots he takes off the ring, calling out some of the biggest names in combat sports like Conor McGregor and even Canelo Alvarez. He's always in front of the camera, taking every opportunity to stir the pot and make headlines, whether he's promoting his fights or trolling his opponents. This guy pretty much grew up on YouTube, so he shares every aspect of his career with his fans, and he knows exactly how to keep people talking. But this latest sparring video, it's taken the fight world by storm, and not in a good way. People were already skeptical about Jake's skills, and now, with him getting knocked down by a no-name sparring partner, it's like pouring gasoline on a fire. In the clip, Jake's wobbling around like he just finished the hardest leg day workout of his life. His legs were gone, he looked gassed, and for someone who's preparing to face Mike freaking Tyson, that's not a good look. Now don't get me wrong, every fighter has tough days during training. It's part of the process, and we all know that even the best fighters have been humbled in sparring. But the difference here is that JakePaul is facing a legend in Mike Tyson. Tyson is a guy who, even at 58 years old, can still knock people's heads off. There's no room for slip-ups. If Jake wants to survive that fight, let alone win, he needs to be on his A game. And the experts agree. They're all saying the same thing. Jake's got no room for failure. Every day in camp is critical. especially when you're prepping for the biggest fight of your career. Paul's been very open with fans about his training, constantly posting videos and photos of his workouts. But this is a whole different vibe. People are worried now. If Jake is struggling like this in sparring, how is he going to fare against a monster like Tyson? Other boxing experts are also sharing their take on the upcoming matchup as well, and their 2 cents aren't much different than Rogan's. UFC President Dana White always has something to say about Jake, and he has weighed in. White has been against the Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul matchup ever since it was announced. This guy believes that Mike should stay out of the ring for good and respect his age. The fight world is putting Paul on a blast for making a dirty move by not only challenging, but stepping into the ring with Mike, who will be 58 by the time this fight sees the light of day.
Jake fought a guy who was his age and was also considered a boxer, and he lost. So if you can keep fighting fucking 50-something-year-olds...
You don't think Tyson has a chance?
And making a living at it. I think that Mike Tyson has a puncher's chance against any...
Meanwhile, Floyd Mayweather, who has had his own personal beef with Jake Paul, shared his take on the scenario too. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. There's levels to this sport. Jake needs to understand that he's not at the top level yet. Money Mayweather likes to stay out of the drama as much as he can, but he couldn't keep his opinion about Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul to himself. This mismatched clash has everyone talking, and due to the overhype, a lot of people are forgetting that Jake's got another hurdle to cross before he puts up gloves against Tyson. Former world champions, trainers, and analysts have come out swinging, verbally of course, and they're pointing out all the cracks in Jake's game. The issue? Some believe Jake's opponents haven't been as seasoned as they should be. Take it from boxing legend Mike Tyson, who even hinted at the fact that Jake's fights haven't had the same level of grit as real-world boxing wars. He hasn't been tested yet, Tyson said in a recent interview. All this hype, it won't mean anything when he faces a real boxer. Now, Iron Mike knows he will be Jake's first legit competition in the ring. No one has given the problem child a run for his money in the ring yet, and if that's because all of Jake's fights have been circus acts orchestrated by him. I mean, he always steps into the ring with a washed-up athlete, so his KO wins don't really mean much when you look at his opponents. Let's break this down, starting with his most famous wins: Nate Robinson, Ben Askren, and Tyron Woodley. Sure, these names are big in their respective sports. Nate's an NBA star, Askren's a former UFC fighter, and Woodley is a mixed martial arts legend. But boxing, that's a whole different animal. Askren and Woodley, for example, are not pure boxers. They came from other combat sports where grappling is key. That's like asking a tennis player to dominate in badminton. They're related, but not the same. For boxing purists, this fact doesn't sit well. I'm not saying these guys aren't fighters, said Roy Jones Jr. But if we're talking pure boxing, Jake hasn't faced the kind of fighter who's going to test his real boxing skills. He's picking opponents who are out of their element. Many experts think Jake's trajectory has been carefully orchestrated to avoid real boxing challenges. Boxing analyst Max Kellerman pointed out, Jake's handlers are doing a great job managing him, but at some point, if he wants to be taken seriously, he's going to need to fight someone who lives and breathes boxing. Plus, experts like Teddy Atlas, the seasoned boxing trainer, have also raised concerns about Jake's choice of opponents. You're talking about guys who were great in their respective fields. But boxing is different. You can't play boxing, Atlas remarked. Until he fights a legit boxer who's in their prime, all this chatter about Jake Paul being a legit fighter is just smoke and mirrors. When you step into the boxing ring, it's not just about raw talent. It's about preparation, the hours of sweat and toil in the gym, working with the best trainers to fine-tune your skills. But boxing experts are starting to question whether Jake Paul's training camp is up to par. While Jake has been working with BJ Flores, some feel Jake isn't getting the kind of elite-level training he needs to succeed against tougher competition. Boxing coach Freddie Roach, known for working with legends like Manny Pacquiao, threw shade at Jake's camp, saying, if he really wants to make it, he needs a top trainer. No offense to his current team, but I'm not seeing the adjustments I'd expect. It's clear that while Jake has the resources to hire top-notch trainers, many in the boxing world believe he's not making the necessary steps to evolve into a true contender. And this, according to experts, could be his downfall. If Jake even wants to stand a chance against Mike Tyson, he's going to have to prepare like he's never prepared before because this is no ordinary fight. We're talking about one of the most hyped boxing events in years, maybe even decades. It's a true clash of generations. Jake Paul, the face of influencer boxing, taking on Mike Tyson, one of the most dangerous fighters in boxing history. And the hype surrounding it? It's unreal. Just look at the recent press conference in New York City. Fans were losing their minds, the media was all over it, and both fighters were feeding off the energy. The build-up to this fight has everyone talking, and for good reason. But here's the thing. Jake's recent knockout in sparring has thrown a serious wrench into the works. It's a major setback, and it's one that the pros are not going to let him forget anytime soon. This isn't just some slip-up in training that's going to get swept under the rug. Boxing pundits have been waiting for a moment like this, and they're milking it for all it's worth. They've been saying for months now that Jake's not ready for someone of Tyson's caliber, and now after that knockout, they feel even more justified in their doubts. The narrative has shifted, and now all eyes are on whether Mike Tyson is going to put an end to Jake Paul's so-called domination of boxing. And let's be real, a lot of people in the boxing world are hoping for that exact outcome. Experts are already saying that Tyson is going to teach Jake a lesson in the ring, and if Jake doesn't get his act together fast, it looks like that's exactly what's going to happen. So there you go, Fight World, that's all I have for you today. What do you think about the whole situation? Fill the comment section with your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more boxing news. See you in the next video.